Yeah, we're talking with Victoria Spillane, who is the CEO of Crohn's and Colitis Ireland. And we also have Maria Crowe with us, and she'll tell a bit about the no wait card. So you're both very welcome to Disability Matters,
Thanks so much,
Thank
Sean.
you, John.
and it's great to talk to you. Victoria, you might first start to just tell us a bit about Crohn's and colitis, IBD and IBS, and what they all are, because there are people out there who won't know.
Absolutely. So in terms of IBD, that is inflammatory bowel disease. And under that, and that's the umbrella term for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Crohn's disease affects any part of the digestive tract from the mouth all the way down to the back passage. Ulcerative colitis then is localized to the large intestine. Now, both are lifelong, debilitating chronic illnesses of which that there is no cure for, um, and incredibly debilitating. So how they manifest is that basically it's inflammation of the gut, and ulceration, bleeding, and it's not just gut symptoms that you can experience with both. Obviously there is, people may need to use the toilet 20, 30, 40 plus times a day,
Ah,
blood mucus in the stool. There would be severe abdomen pain, mouth ulcers, but there's a lot of extra intestinal manifestations that occur with inflammatory bowel disease as well. It's very much a systemic disease. It's not just the gut. There's joint pain, there is chronic fatigue, brain fog, there hair loss, skin rashes. So it's very much across, as I said, across the board really with the body. And I think that there's often misconceptions that inflammatory bowel disease is just something where you get a little bit of a tummy ache and you may need to go to the toilet a little bit more frequently than others, and you might just be a little bit tired. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more
that's
than that, unfortunately.
that's
Yeah, it is.
stripping it right back. Um,
Absolutely.
it's a
Yeah.
tough life for somebody with the disease.
It is, John. It is because and no matter what stage of life that you get diagnosed at, we've people we're coming across people as young as 3 months old being diagnosed, and people up in their 90s being diagnosed. It's the prevalence of IBD and other chronic illnesses are increasing across Ireland and globally. So you know, it's a new normal, the life that you once had,
Yeah,
without a chronic illness. Once you're diagnosed, it's a new normal you have to try to adjust to. And it's easier said than done, and as I say, it's like a grieving process that you go through when you get diagnosed with any kind of a chronic illness.
yeah.
And it can be tough to get to that level of acceptance, for sure. And that's why today we kind of just want to bring some awareness around the no way card, and I know we'll speak to that later.
Very
Just
good.
yeah,
Tell us
about some
about
tools.
treatment. Is there a treatment?
There are now, thankfully, this day and age, there's a lot of treatment on the market for inflammatory bowel disease, thankfully. Um, but it's still not easy.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with it back 28 years ago as a young girl, and there wasn't very much there. You had to rely on your heavy steroid use, which then does impact the body in its own way as you get older as well. Um, and but now there's a lot of biologics. So that could be infusions that you may need to go into the hospital for, injections that you have to administer yourself, maybe at home every few weeks. But they're high-tech medication. So as much as they're there to help, there's nothing foolproof. There can be some side effects as well that people need to contend with. But at the end of the day, if it's, when you're sick, you get sick of being sick. And when dealing with your healthcare practitioners and speaking to the teams, you're in safe hands, and it's just about that they will guide you as to what medication may suit you best. But again, it's trial and error, John. You
Yeah.
could start something today, it may not work, you'll have to try new medication. But that's the beauty of it. Now there is a lot of hope there's no cure. However, there's hope because there's now like a plan A, B, C, and D, E, and F, which there
Very
wasn't
good.
before because there's so many more medications on the market and more coming as well, which is light at the end of the tunnel, thankfully, for trying to live a somewhat normal life.
That's fantastic. And the big thing then is around planning, isn't it? If somebody
Mm.
with with the disease has to plan absolutely everything you do.
Yeah, they do, and it's hard. And I think that that's one of the things, to be honest, I think a lot of us warriors of different chronic illnesses understand is that life doesn't go according to plan, and you have to really live your life thinking outside the box. Um, I've been doing it now so long. I'd say if I went back into a life where I had to really plan everything, I wouldn't know what to do, to be honest.
Mhm.
I'm so used to just, you know, it's near like a spontaneity, it's like, okay, what's today going to bring for me? But you do, and I think especially in terms of traveling, trying to, whether it's and people going to school, going to work, your day-to-day is impacted, with frequent toilet use being required, more often than not, especially when in flares, having to deal with constant pain, whether it is your stomach or your joints or both, your eyesight might be impacted. How am I going to get around today? I don't, it could be your eyes can be inflamed and ulcerated as well, and all of that. So there's a lot of planning involved, which to be honest we already live with a lot of fatigue. This brings an added layer of fatigue. However, that's where, it's you have to really rely on the people around you to nearly get you through your days as well, to do the small little things. Could be someone making you a cup of tea. That'll be able to get you started for your morning,
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of planning, and especially when it comes to toilet access for sure, John. It's that's one of the big issues, to be honest, with living with any chronic illness where it does impact maybe the bowel or the bladder, where it's a case of where is the nearest toilet. And we want everyone to live their best lives when they can, you know. But unfortunately, living with illnesses like this, it brings a lot of social anxiety, and I think that that's where it just doesn't affect the physical, it impacts the mental as well,
Yeah, of course.
the mental health. And I think because, as I said, the new normal, the life that you once knew, where you were able to go carefree without thinking about, is how many toilets are on X route,
Yeah.
from Cork to Dublin or wherever you may be going. Um, Now all of a sudden you're there nearly with pen and paper, just logging, okay, I can maybe get to, if I stop eating or drinking at whatever time in the day I'm going
Yeah.
on this journey, I might be able to make it without a toilet for X amount of time. There'll be a toilet then when I know that I'll probably need one. It does bring an added layer of mental fatigue as well, not just physical, it is tough. It's a tough gig, John. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah, I'm getting it from you big time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Planning is everything.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Now, Maria, I might bring you in there and you might tell us a bit about where the idea for the no wait card came from.
Yeah, hiya, John. I'm kind of coming from a slightly different angle than Victoria in that I have a condition called painful bladder syndrome. So I'm kind of coming from the bladder community end of
Right.
it. So while they're different conditions, they're the exact same symptoms as such, like chronic fatigue, a lot of pain. That's why it's called painful bladder for like a reason. A lot of medications, a lot of visits, and as Victoria said there, um, just mental toll of constantly trying to leave your house to go somewhere, and the stress of like, where is the toilet? Yeah, how
Yeah,
soon can I get to the toilet? And like with painful bladder, if you don't drink water, you're like, sorry now, but your urine gets more concentrated and it
I
causes
get
more
you.
pain. So we have to drink like quite a lot of water. So therefore, like we have to go to the toilet quite a lot. So what was happening to me, like, I only developed this condition about 4 years ago, and it's chronically kind of got a bit worse. And
Wow.
like last year, I think it was June, July, I was out somewhere. I just wanted to go, like, to a large retailer. I was in the shop, and like the pain comes on me quite quickly, and I have to go to the toilet. And I explained to the staff member there, like, listen, I really have to use the toilet. Like, I'm in chronic pain, and um, I do have the Crohn's and colitis card because like we
Yeah.
don't have the bladder card, and they looked at it and they were like, no, just
Oh,
no, no.
man.
Yeah. So like that meant that I was said to her, like, listen, like, I have like 2 seconds now and I have to go to the toilet. And they just said, no, you can't. So like I had to go outside, John, and open my car doors and basically pee in front of that shop in
Yeah.
the car park. And like I since I started the campaign, like the amount of stories, I'm sure Victoria can account to that, the amount of stories of people telling me like they're carrying potties in their cars,
Yeah,
they're like putting nappies on, just go up into Dublin for the day because they don't know where the toilet is. Like that's why we so badly need like a no wait card that people can recognize. You go into the shop, you show it, they let you use the toilet. Like we're not, as Victoria said there, we're not looking for like special treatment. We're like people with a chronic condition, and like we are trying to, go somewhere, like go to a festival, go to a concert, and not have to, decide, will I go, won't I go? And if I do go, the amount of prep that we have to put into going
yeah.
it is quite distressing, apart from the condition itself.
So what is a no-wait card?
Yeah, so like a no wait card is just basically a card, and it says on it, this person has a bowel or bladder condition. Please can they access your toilets? And like that's basically what the little card says. And we're hopeful that through Mark Wall TD has introduced legislation into the Dáil, and like we are working with the Department of Health. So we're just hoping that in the next couple of weeks or months that there'll be a nationwide card, and like all businesses and shops will recognize it, and like just show us a bit of compassion and dignity instead of straight away saying no, they're staff toilets, you can't use them. Like to know what it means to us, because this is our only chance of freedom, this is our only chance of going places, is actually having a card and not have to do a great big detailed explanation to someone on a shop floor about what it means and how vital it is to us.
And do we know how many cards have been issued?
Victoria could probably speak to that, because most people, the majority of the people, like they are using the Irish Cancer Society ones and the spinal
Okay,
injury, but the majority of the people are now using the Crohn and Colitis card.
good. And
So from our side, John, there would be at least, I'd say, 1,700
wow,
from the Crohn's colitis side. Yeah. And again, not everyone with those cards have Crohn's colitis. We're not closing our doors to non-IBD people, because we understand that when you need to go, when you need to use the toilet, you need to use the toilet.
mm.
So we're more than happy to, give our card to have people come on board that are non-IBD as well, but that do need a card to use when they're out. Yeah.
And if you're, for example, in a shopping centre and
Mhm.
there's a queue for the loo, the card gets it at the top of it.
Well, in theory, yes.
In
In
theory,
theory.
sorry, in theory, I should
Yeah,
have
in
said that.
theory, but that's what I'm saying. Like, even with the card, like, or a lot of business are saying, if you buy something here, you can use the toilet. But the problem is, like, I don't mind buying a bottle of water or whatever. But the problem is, like, yeah, as you say, there could be five people, there could be six people ahead of you, and honestly, like, I don't have the time to wait for six people to move out of the way so that I can, explain.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why we're hoping this card to be recognized, and you can just like show it and you'd be like straight into the toilet.
And the big question, how do you get buy-in from the public?
Well, probably Victoria speaks to that as well. On my behalf, I'm just putting up actual stories of actual people. This is our lives. Like this is what we're reduced down to now. We're people with genuine medical conditions, and in Ireland in 2026, like we can't leave our houses because there's no public toilets. The customer toilets are all closed now in businesses since COVID, so it's made the place like a lot worse. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? We're just ordinary people, and everyone, has stories to tell. And like it's a bit of a taboo subject because people don't like speaking about bowel and
Yeah,
bladders
yeah.
and using toilets and having to do this, that, and the other to get someplace. So like we've had so much support in the last couple of months from the public, and like people are messaging me the whole time and saying, I'm so glad, and like contacting Crohn's now for the cards. So like we have kind of public buy-in. It's just we need like government buy-in, we need legislation buy-in, we need, you know what I mean, business awareness buy-in.
Now, one thing I saw, I can't remember, it's a week or 2 weeks ago, was No Waste Awareness Day. What was that all about?
I'll do my bit and then Victoria can jump in there. Yeah, so basically, like, because I've been using the Crohn's and colitis card for the last few weeks, because I've been a bad flare up, I thought it would be a good idea if everybody with like the no weight card, the Irish Cancer Society, Crohn's and colitis, spinal injuries, the Continence Foundation of Ireland are also on board with it. That if we had a whole day together and just said like, this is what people and bowel and bladder conditions lives are like. These are no weight cards. If you're a business, if you could help out, if you could recognize the card, if you could show staff, this is what the card means. That it would like in the short term, like let people know exactly what it means, and then hopefully in the long term we will actually have like a government backed nationwide card. So that's what the day
Yeah.
is about. Like, give us a bit of dignity, give us a bit of compassion, and that's basically what the day is.
Do you want
Yeah,
to
and I
come in
think
there, Victoria?
I will, of course. I think that, just a huge thanks to Marie for the work that she's doing as well on all of this. Because it really does take a village, to be able to get to keep support coming. It's sometimes it's easier said than done, but I think that things do seem to be going in the right direction. They're baby steps, but they are steps nonetheless. It's so I like we are hopeful that things can keep progressing in the right way. And I think that what's important about this day is the fact that, again, it's raising awareness for encouraging businesses, public venues, communities to better understand what an O8 card represents. It's not about special treatment. And again, just to mirror what Maria said, it's about dignity, compassion, recognizing that people are living with health conditions that require urgent access to a toilet. And I think that one of the challenges, say, with the likes of inflammatory bowel disease or again, painful bladder syndrome there, that what Maria has, is that these are invisible illnesses. So we may be presenting with our card, we may look perfectly well on the outside, but on the inside, we're actually dealing with severe urgency, we're dealing with pain, we're dealing with fatigue, sometimes the effects of surgery. And that's where the no weight card is actually invaluable,
Yeah.
because basically provides a very simple way to explain a situation quickly and discreetly when someone urgently needs access to toilet facilities. And just to describe the current card, it's that we have a Crohn's Colitis Ireland. It's just a business size card, so it's not a big thing that someone has to, be going around and lugging around with them. You
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
it into your purse or your wallet, show it when you need to, and I think the first step is for obviously for again the businesses, retailers, etc., to understand that when someone is presenting with this, maybe put yourself into that person's shoes for 30 seconds and imagine if you were the one that needed to use the toilet, how are you going to treat that person? It's dignity and respect and empathy. But just to go back quickly to what you said about, if there's a queue and there's 5 or 6 people there, we do unfortunately encounter, excuse me, where we've had people, and I've been there myself, where you just try to get to the top of the queue, and the establishment might be happy for you to do so.
Yeah.
It's actually the public queuing that are saying, "Why are you skipping the queue? There's nothing wrong with you. You look fine." And like it's tough because you don't want to have to be telling those 5 or 6 people, this is my card. Like, you shouldn't have to be showing it to, and especially if you've gotten permission from the business. So it's kind of there's two sides of the coin. There's obviously public awareness, and there's awareness for obviously workplaces, communities, etc. That just ongoing awareness. And we brought it up in Leinster House that last year when we went up as well, part of the advocacy. Like, people are very much on board for it, but it's just to kind of keep pushing and keep the voices being heard. As Maria said, stories to keep being heard. What I always say, no one goes unscathed in this life. So someone
Yeah.
is going to be impacted by something at some stage, whether it's them, the person themselves, or someone very close to them. And it's a case of, you know, when you're refusing someone, again, just imagine if it's you or a loved one, be in their position. And just because someone looks fine doesn't mean that we are fine. We're far
Correct.
from fine, unfortunately,
Correct.
and we just need just that continued awareness, to be honest, where when someone presents with, whether it's our card, Irish Cancer Society, spinal injuries, etc., that when they go, toilet access is a human right at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And it's when someone just presents with it, please just be kind, and
Brilliant.
just leave them use the toilet.
And Maria, you mentioned a bit of legal stuff. So I saw something called a total access bill. Maybe you could explain what that's about?
Yeah, so Mark Wall there, the Labour TD, he's actually my local TD. So he introduced into the Dáil in January. Yes, it's the Equal Access to Toilet Facilities Bill. And basically it was just it's just a short bill, and it just says about like no wait cards, and it was some businesses had issues around insurance. So it was basically to trying to alleviate the insurance thing by giving them limited liability. Like unless it was severe negligence, that we could people with cards can use the toilet. So that was the small piece of legislation. So unfortunately that's still sitting there. It hasn't moved to second stage. It's still sitting there since January. So that's why we're trying to apply like awareness and pressure onto the government to kind of move it along. Like there is buy-in from cross-party support, and like Jennifer Carroll McNeil, the Minister of Health herself, you know, is researching into the cards, and she is trying to hopefully promote it. But at the moment, that's kind of where it stands. And like the Department of Health is also trying to support the cards. We had a meeting with them there a couple of weeks ago. We thought it was positive, so we're hoping that like between the two, Jennifer and the Department of Health, that they will actually do something. But so that's kind of where that stands. Like we're positive, but we still need to raise as much awareness as we can. In case they come back and say no, or you know, in the meantime, we still need to go places, and like you know what I mean. In the next couple
Yeah,
of months, we still need to be out and about and trying to live our lives.
absolutely. Now, did anyone get any negative feedback?
We do, unfortunately. So we are like on our website, we've got a list of businesses that are on board, that have been on board for the last number of years of accepting the card. But even at that, we have come across where some were still refused. Because unfortunately, it's, you know, you could have maybe a new staff member go on board that aren't fully aware
Yeah,
that the organization that they're working for has signed up to accept such a card. So then we often get people reach out and say, but even if whether it is someone that has agreed to accept it or it may not be, they might still reach out. We then actually reach out to those businesses and speak
good.
to the management. We always follow up, absolutely, and just to do our best to ensure that that doesn't happen to someone else again in the future. You know, again, you know, unfortunately, it's when you're when you're dealing with people, it can be a little bit tough.
Yeah,
Because again, you don't know who it could be a staff member of that particular establishment. They could be having a bad day. That's no excuse, but they could be having a bad day, or they may just not understand what it is or take time to understand, you know. And that's again where the constant awareness is coming in. But we have unfortunately had situations for sure where it was refused. I mean, it was refused on me in the past as well. And I just didn't leave until I don't like to take no as an answer, basically. And it was a case of where I will shout and scream if I have to and say, okay, you know, like similar to Maria's story, it's a case of you won't leave us go, then you're going to see fairly lively what the ramifications of not allowing us into the toilet will be, you know.
brilliant.
Yeah. So but unfortunately we do come across that, but we always reach out to the management of whatever establishments it may be just to speak with them. And then that's where the education piece comes in then for certain businesses as well at the time.
You'll always get negative feedback, but the positive feedback far outweighs it.
It does, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You come up with the tagline, it takes a village to live at IBD.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our recent World IBD Day campaign. Excuse me, and I think that this actually just flows nicely, I think, for today as well, the No Way Card Awareness Day, to be honest. Because again, it takes a village. You know, it takes a village for the work that's being done in the background, for the work that's being done even, you know, out publicly as well. And for people to actually just support the likes of myself, Maria, and all of those within our communities and other communities that need No Way Card. We can't do it ourselves, you know. It does take a village to be able to live a normal life as best as we can, you know. And even in say around the No Way Card and even other issues, say within the IBD community and even say within the community that Maria is within as well and others, you know, it's the HSE and the government are part of that village too.
Of
And
course.
it's about that constant awareness and making that aware to them, being, you know, we can only go so far ye need to step in here and take the reins then as well to a certain extent, and that's what we're, with the constant advocacy, doing our very best to do that, and have those conversations. Myself, Maria, we'll all have different conversations at different times with different people, as will others, different advocacy groups as well. And it is just one big village. It really is, it's, and hopefully that we will see things turn for the better and continue to turn for the better.
Good.
Because with the increase of chronic illness across Ireland, there's going to be more and more people impacted. And I
Course.
think that, to be honest, by supporting the campaign and those of us living with chronic illness, it's thinking they might be impacted as well at some stage down the line, so just do right by us, because if you come into our shoes down the line, you'll want that same support,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do you get the cards?
So for our one, people can actually reach out and sign up for the card. So it's just getting onto Crohn's Colitis Ireland. So they can go onto the website, sign up as a member. So it's crohnscolitis.ie, or they can actually email us as well, info@crohnscolitis.ie. And then we'll get back with all further information to them as well. And they can call our helpline as well. That's open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then obviously Maria might be able to speak to how others can then get the cards in from Irish Cancer Society and spinal injuries as well. I assume it's just reaching out to them as well, for their card. But from Crohn's Colitis Ireland, people can either sign up on the website directly themselves. If there's any issues, they can email or call us anytime.
Maria?
Yes, it's basically the same. Spinal injuries. I like that was the very, very first card that I actually had. So I just reached out to spinal injuries and they did that. And the same with the Cancer Society. They do give it to people newly diagnosed with cancer that is affecting their bowel and bladder, but they also had kind of awareness days themselves, and they had open days where they were, when people were explaining about it, they did hand out the cards as well. So it's kind of it's a simple enough process to get the card. And with the Crohn's and colitis one, your name is actually on it, which I think kind of puts a little bit more legitimacy on it, because like, you know what I mean, in one place I did show the card and I showed my ID and I just explained, you know what I mean, this is the card, this is me. So on the other cards it doesn't actually have your name on it.
Very good. Ladies.
And we're partnered as well, down with the hidden disability Sunflower Ireland. So their logo is actually on our card as well. So sometimes even if a business or an organization may not be fully, it's like, okay, what they may not necessarily know who Crohn's Colitis Ireland are. Obviously our logo's on there, but they might see the actual symbol for the Sunflower Ireland. So then they'll understand. It's like, okay, we understand this is a hidden disability. So yeah, it kind of just strengthens it a little bit more.
And the hidden disabilities piece is really, really important.
Absolutely.
Ladies, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks so much.
It's been brilliant talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck with the campaign, and I hope you get buy-in from everybody.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, John. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Really
all the best to you, Maria.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Victoria.
Bye.